It was summer vacation, and I was spending a week in my best friend Thomas's apartment. We were doing what we always did, playing video games, watching YouTube, and doing stupid challenges at 2 in the morning. Just normal vacation chaos. It was exactly 2:48 a.m. when I got up because I was thirsty. The apartment was dark and quiet. I walked into the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and stopped for a moment. Something felt wrong. Almost without thinking, I looked out the kitchen window. The apartment was on the second floor of a multi-family building. And then, I saw him. A man was standing on the sidewalk below, motionless. His head was tilted slightly to one side, and he was staring directly into the window, directly at me. I jerked backwards so hard I nearly dropped my glass. "Shit, what is this guy doing?" I yelled. Thomas, half asleep, stumbled into the kitchen. "What are you talking about?" he asked. "Down there, look for yourself." I pulled him toward the window. The moment he saw the man, he froze. The figure was tall and thin, almost unnaturally so. He wasn't moving at all, just staring up at us. We both started panicking. "Let's call the police," Thomas said. But the second we looked away and back again, the man was gone, just like that. No trace. A few minutes later, the doorbell rang. My heart immediately started pounding. I slowly crept toward the door and looked through the peephole and found myself staring into two bloodshot, wide-open eyes. "Oh!" I stumbled backward. Thomas came running and immediately called the police. But when the officers arrived, the man was gone. They brushed it off. "Probably just a drunk guy," one officer said. "It happens." But I knew this wasn't a drunk. The next night, around 2 a.m., I looked out the window again. The man was back, standing in the exact same spot, perfectly still, staring. Thomas and I both felt our legs shaking. Then the doorbell rang again. This time, it didn't stop. The ringing became constant, then came pounding. The entire door rattled as something slammed against it from the outside. "John!" Thomas screamed. We ran into the bathroom and locked the door. I grabbed an old baseball bat while Thomas called the police. Then, silence. When the police arrived, the man was gone again. No signs of forced entry, just a few bloody fingerprints on the door handle. The officers seemed more concerned this time, but they still couldn't do anything. "There's no evidence that anyone entered the apartment," they said. By the third night, we were too afraid to stay home after dark. We spent the evening at a fast food restaurant and stayed there until almost midnight. While walking back, we took a poorly lit street. That's when we heard footsteps behind us. Slow, heavy. We turned around, and there he was, the man. This time, he was close, and now we could see him clearly. He stood nearly 7 feet tall, with grotesquely long arms and legs that looked stretched beyond what should have been possible. His skin was pale gray, pulled tightly over his bones. His face was narrow and sunken. Dirty strands of greasy hair hung around it. His lips were nearly gone, exposing a wide grin filled with crooked brown teeth. The skin on his neck was scratched and torn, as if he had clawed at it over and over again. Something dark was packed beneath his fingernails. It looked like dry blood, and the smell. He smelled like decay, like death, like something no human being should ever smell. Thomas froze. Then suddenly lunged forward, grabbed him, and threw him to the ground. Then he leaned down until his face was only inches from Thomas's. In a hoarse, disgusting whisper, he said, "I am hungry." Without thinking, I ran forward and kicked him in the face as hard as I could. Thomas scrambled to his feet. He was bleeding from his arm, but we ran anyway. We sprinted to a nearby store and called the police. This time, they caught him. What they discovered afterward was horrifying. The man owned an old house on the outskirts of town. Inside, police found the remains of 3 missing people. In the basement was what investigators described as a dining room. There was a filthy table covered with bone fragments and pieces of raw meat. But the worst part was on the walls. Photos. Pictures of me and Thomas. Dozens of them. He had been watching us for days, maybe even weeks. The police referred to him only as the Butcher of Roseburg. He had escaped from a psychiatric institution years earlier. Nobody ever officially declared him dead. He had simply disappeared. And apparently, he had been waiting, hungry,